Okay, for this week's case study, we are talking about physical security. In this case, Google setting up a research lab in UNSW. I, as a team, has been allocated to design the physical site, and I need to point out features which I probably should protect, and the free features. Or was it? I just need to detect which I think is important, and key features of security design which are resulted from them. Okay. In my ideal system, for at least Google, I would ensure that number one is the safety of the employees. If something goes wrong to them, that can have massive implications on the reputation of Google. The second would be the data, the personal data of. Okay, actually, honestly, the number one would be the personal data of all the information being stored there, like of their clients. I know that sounds bad, but it's probably the one that would hit their reputation the most. Like, if one of their sites got burnt down and a couple people died in it, that'd be horrible, absolutely atrocious. But because people are inherently selfish, they probably would care more about is the data okay rather than an unknown face. So I'm going to go with data. I'm going to go with personal data, the security of the individuals. I feel like their assets will actually probably be the least, like the general assets will be the least important, but the protection of the data within the assets would be highly regarded, because their entire company is based around data. It's not based around hardware manufacturing, and they can recover from loss of hardware. So number one, yeah. Then I'm probably going to say for the last but not least, well, actually no, that's basically it. You got the you got the data stored on site, the employees, and the actual physical hardware. For three key features to help with it. One, authentication, obviously, probably number one. But not just general authentication. I'm going to tackle data first, not just general authentication, like tiered authentication. So even if as a lower individual tries to gain access to the building, they can only have a confined access within the building. This stops it. So this stops the issue where you can have like the confused deputy issue, where yes, actually it's not a confused deputy issue. This is just if you get one key, you unlock it all. No one should be able to have a key. There should be no one key that accesses all pieces of information. You will always need multiple keys to get multiple pieces of it. And each of these keys or authentication, let's say in this case is fingerprints, because it's hard to replicate fingerprints compared to anything else. Let's say you only have access to the things you require, and nothing more, nothing less. Each of the employees require nothing more, nothing less. This means that if some and that's not just for like physical locations. This is more like the actual like the data stored, like the physical location. The actual security level should how the data is physically stored should also reflect the actual security level of the data, the required data. So let's say someone's working on Google Maps, they only have access to Google Maps, like the Google Maps servers, and that's all. They can't access any other server. But the isolation between the servers should be held. Also, again, there should be like a tiered. So even if you have access to the floor, like as a visitor, you can't access anything else. You can just access the general area. And watch out for people like tailgating you. I'll say basically if there's any suspicion happens. Obviously, there's different levels of crucial. Like the base floor has slight level. Like the base floor is only it's just a normal turn gate. People should be able to walk into, not really walk into it, but you shouldn't have any confidential information shown across the board. Basically, what you want is that part is fine. You can tailgate, but like any data crucial areas, like for one, no workstation should have direct access to personal data. That should only be done through a secure terminal, which has been protected behind like a rotating door, which only can fit one person. So you scan your finger, you see in the rotating door, it checks it's only one person, and then it lets it through. Doing it this way, it stops tailgating and it keeps data safe. The employees should only ever work on false data that they hold. What else? Okay, so that's the data integrity. Now we're going a step further, and let's talk about the employee safety. I know I said this like multiple layered, but when you're leaving the server rooms, there should be like a quick escape. So you could theoretically, because you can assume that if the person has a fingerprint, there needs to be a lockdown alarm. The lockdown alarm basically, if there's an emergency, a lockdown alarm basically shuts down the computers. Well, not shuts down, it disables physical access to the computer, so like any terminals connected to it, and it still can be accessible from the web, but like any data ports or like any data ports and serial ports and management ports get shut down. Basically it locks the cabinets, so nothing can be taken in and out, and it's a complete shut off, and then it unlocks the door. So so that people can quickly and safely escape, and that's on all levels. All terminals get shut down, they get locked up, they don't get turned off because that's not the smartest idea, but they get shut down and locked off so that no one can touch anything and they get pushed out. Also, everyone should be working on dumb terminals rather than actual local work machines. So then if the case of this does happen, it means actually nothing, because of the session isn't determined on the client computer, it's determined on the server. So they can just reinstall connection outside if they really need to work, or if there's crucial day zero errors. And just with the assets, I say the physical assets, if you have everything invested into the servers and the security of the servers, they're inherently protected, and make sure that the individual like worker at Google, they're using inexpensive technology. So if they do break in, there's no real incentive to steal their computers because it's just not worth it. Keep the focus, keep your issue into one area, so the servers themselves. Segregate the servers so if you can get full access to one, you don't have access to all information. It's only allocated to that one area. And I feel like that's it all, and I'm not going to explain anymore because it's already 10 minutes long. Thank you.